Good morning, my dears, and welcome. Today we are talking about how to navigate the divide of separate timelines and doing it with grace and class and using our leadership hats. And I give some tools and tricks at the end as well as to what could kind of help you. So welcome to the cafe. I got my ambitious pants on today. Oh, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Don't worry, I got my house slippers on, so I am so grateful for you. If this is your first time here on my channel, hello and welcome. My name is Sarah. It is a pleasure to meet you. I am a mystic, spirit counsel. I am a quantum healer. I do very multidimensional work, but anything that really means that my consciousness came from a different time and space, that has come down to play human to help you make sense of the awakening, what's going on, all of this, spiritual mumbo jumbo and the woo woo, how to make sense of it. My human came from corporate. I've been training teams and guiding others for over 10 years. So I'm very, very qualified to help you make sense of all of this. So please, if you are new, what we do is we chit chat. Please go grab your journal, grab your coffee or tea, some water, and come right back. I'll give you a little bit of we'll use Nasha, the smoky quartz, and my tea for the pause. Pause the video, go grab your things. Beautiful, beautiful. Welcome, welcome. So, my intention for today is give a little bit of an understanding as to what do you mean by separate timelines? What do you mean of the divide? You might have noticed that certain people, I wrote down a few things as to what you mean by divide, because it's not political divides. It's not you're spiritual and I'm religious. It's not like that. Kind of a few of the different things that really, in my view, will show what timeline people are on. So I wrote victor or victim mentality, whether you're taking responsibility for things that have happened to you or for you, depending on your view, or if you're this has happened to me, this has happened to me, and this has happened to me, and this wronged me, and this did this, and this did this. And I've kind of labeled my traumas on my lapel to say no, I can be a son of a nutcracker because this has happened to me. That's definitely one way to see. What else did I write down? Service to others or service to self. And I don't mean when we are out there making money and when we are out there for the millionaire, billionaire mindset, that's one thing. But to be of service to others is I'm ready to prosper for my service. Totally different mentality. So when you are of service to others, beautiful. When you are only of service to self, selfish, me, that's another way to kind of see it. I also wrote, and I love the word classy, but I wrote classy, compassionate, or angry and aggressive. And so there are a few moments that I'm going to kind of time out and Zach Morris and just kind of say, if you are speaking to someone that is too aggressive, or that you feel as though that they have some sleeper cells inside of them that by expressing that's not my reality would really trigger and invoke a very aggressive reaction, we're going to walk away from those situations. But I'll get to that as we go on. So let's get started. Let's get started a little bit. I had this experience yesterday. I was driving to the grocery store, and I, live in Gloucester, Massachusetts, and I left the island. And I went to Whole Foods in Beverly. It was a really beautiful drive. We just had a beautiful snowstorm. It was lovely, and it's so magical around here. So I was excited to go to the store. I was excited just to kind of walking in a winter wonderland. And I had a few headaches the night before. I had a little bit of restless sleep, if you will. If you've been with me for a while, you know that I'm not smoking for anxiety anymore. I'm ingesting tinctures, and there's so much beauty in cannabis, but I don't drink alcohol, I don't eat normal sugar, I don't eat gluten, I don't have any hormones in me. So it's kind of, when I do utilize a medicine, I use it for anxiety, I use it for specific things. And so I don't even know where I said that, but I was just driving to the grocery store. Oh, the headaches, that's what it was. So in my world and in my view, I know that if I'm getting a bunch of headaches, if I'm super tired, that there's probably a lot of solar activity that's been going on, and I'm probably going through an upgrade, and the community around me has this language and is cognizant of it. But when it comes to the solar activity on the planet, definitely, I did a video last year, I want to say, calling like what actually is the collective consciousness. And there was one talking about schematics, where it's like, when you put sand on top of a table and then you add music to it, and then like it goes into sacred geometry. You don't have to go back and watch the video, I'm shorthanding it for you now. But that's what's happening to the planet as far as the solar activity is concerned. When people are like, there's a solar flash, there's so much activity coming off of the planet. We're literally, as vibrational beings, just getting shake, rattled, and rolled by all of this energy that's coming to the planet right now. I had heard a perspective the other day that really resonated, that had said that if, a cave person or an ancient man or even our great-great-great-grandparents were alive right now, that's what they would look like this. We're receiving more solar activity than our great-great-great-grandparents in one day. We're receiving more solar activity in one day than our great-great-great-grandparents experienced in their lifetime. So whether you have this language or not, your physical body is experiencing a lot of that. You're getting headaches, you have back aches, you have hip pain, you feel like one day you have effortless energy, and then the next day you sleep for 12 hours and you feel like a bus hit you when you wake up and you have received nothing. Yeah, welcome to the awakening. It's good times. So when I woke up yesterday morning, I was like, okay, I've got tons of headaches. You probably were activated and upgraded, and you feel so much joy, you feel so much effervescence, and I was excited to drive to the grocery store. And the moment that I pulled out of my house and I'm just like driving in Thorin, and my car is named Thorin Oak and Shield. It's a cute little rusty red Nissan Sentra. It's so sweet. And so I'm driving around the grocery store and I was like, oh, there's some serious road rage out here. Oh, everybody else must have received those light codes, and everybody else is waking up with headaches and they have absolutely no idea why. So that's obviously not a them problem. That's obviously not something that they're going to look inwards. They're going to take it out on the people around them. So I kind of had this image pop into my head because, my guides speak in parables, and that's kind of how we came to be. Whereas, when you are, you're going to the bank, you're going to the grocery store, you're going somewhere general, and you hold the door for someone out of the goodness of your heart. And then they walk through the door and they don't say thank you. And for a minute, you're just like, well, you can go F yourself. Like there's like that thought that comes into your brain, but then you just move along with your life and you're like, that had nothing to do with me. Obviously they're in their own reality, and maybe we find grace in that capacity. That's how it's going to be feeling nowadays. But there was this interesting moment that I had where, on 128 going from Gloucester to Beverly, it's a 2-lane highway. So if I'm ever just like chilling in the left lane and I see someone barrel-assing towards me, I just get out of the way. You just get out of the way. If you see someone barrel-assing towards you and you're in the left lane, just get out of the frickin' way. You don't have to sit there and just be like, this is the proper place for me to be driving legally. The person barrel-assing behind you has absolutely no frickin' care as to what is legal or not. This is January of 2024. We're in the post-apocalyptic world right now. There are very few rules. So you have to be cognizant of what your rules are and just not spar with them and get out of the way. This was the fascinating thing though. So someone was barrel-assing, pardon me for swearing. I'm really genuinely trying not to swear in my YouTube content, so I apologize that I just went off right there. My Boston was coming out, my North Shore was coming out. And so this, I got out of the way and I'm just like dancing to Whitney Houston and having a great time. I'm enjoying myself. And the person, as he barrel-assed, like really was just booking it. I noticed that he slowed down and looked over at me. He was ready to fight. And so I want to offer that parable and offer that perspective. Whereas when it comes to these aggressions, like I had said a few minutes ago, that's a timeout moment. That's you genuinely saying, I had a friend the other day, she was just trying to go around someone to go to work. And every time she tried to go around them, they sped up. She tried to go behind them, they slowed down. All of a sudden, Just your existence might trigger some aggression in that person, and you just have to let them be. That is not your fight. That is not your stage. That is not your arena in any capacity. And it has nothing to do with you. I need you to understand that when it comes to this divide, people that are in victim mentality, there is no judgment of what they're experiencing because that is their reality. That is what they know. And when they see someone that's in a victor mentality, it's very jarring. It's that cognitive dissonance. It's that glitch in the matrix where you seem a little bit brighter. You seem a little bit more, even within the leadership language. I'm sure that even if you have none of the spiritual jargon, none of this woo-woo, that as a leader, as someone who does a lot of work, that listens to leadership content, that is working on themselves, you might have had someone that my guides are saying, like, it has a narcissistic film to them, that when you do work on yourself, you're told that you're selfish. You're told that you're self-centered. You're told that, like, what do you mean that you're working on yourself and you're speaking from I statements? What are you talking about? That incredibly traumatic thing happened to you, and you're like, no, I am dealing with that. I'm dealing with those issues. That's totally okie dokie to do, but you can be pegged as a very self-centered person, but when you are of service to others, you have to fill up your own cup first. When you're on the airplane, things go negative, you have to put on your, oxygen mask first and then help others. One of my foundational rules, you cannot give from an empty cup or an empty bucket. You can't do it. You have to make sure that you are tended to, because your team, as a leader, you're useless to your team if you're at 70%, at 80%. I need you at 100% when you're with your team. So when you're here with me at the table, it is so okay to take your armor off and kind of be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've noticed that these things have kind of happened to me before. You're okie dokie. So, okay, Sarah, you're telling me that there's this divide. They're telling me that there's this timeline split, and that it's permanent. What do you mean by that? There are many schools of thought, and we live in a multidimensional quantum world, so it's really what resonates for you is what works for you. And there's this parable, I just want to highlight the parable right now, that it's just, I've been saying this for a long time, but it really slapped the other day, that I want you to think of your awakening, your leadership, spirituality, every little bit of even reality in 2024 as a cafeteria line. Take what resonates for you and don't take what doesn't. Take the amount of what resonates for you and don't take the things you don't like. You don't stand at the cafeteria line in front of, the Brussels sprouts or something and say, I really hate Brussels sprouts and my mother made me sit at the table and eat the Brussels sprouts. No, you don't stand there and look at the thing you don't want. You just take what you want and you don't take the Brussels sprouts. Same thing with reality, same thing with leadership, same thing with spirituality, same thing with religion. All of this is a cafeteria line. So take what works for you and do not take any of the other things. Just saying that there. So, okay, you tell me it's a divide. What are you talking about, Sarah? Where it started, there's so many people that have said 2012. A lot of people have said 2018, 2019. For a lot of people, it was 2020. For a lot of people, it was the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto on the 12th of January in 2020 in the sign of Capricorn that kind of changed the entire world as we know it. So I would definitely, if you're interested in more of that stuff, I'll put the link below for my Patreon. I have a new moon and full moon workshop Patreon that is just a really beautiful blessing. So if you're keen to work with the energies of the planets, I will put that link below. Because this new moon that is coming up, what's today, Tuesday, it's on the 11th of January 2024, is 2 degrees off of that original conjunction. So whatever was birthed from that reality, we're really stepping into our sovereignty right now. So I just wanted to plant that seed there. If you're interested in how to work with these energies in a very similar leadership-based reality. And that's kind of the amalgamation of me is my quest is to find and train the new leadership team for this awakened new earth. I really amalgamize leadership, personal growth, and development with my metaphysical practices and giving you a safe cafe table to express yourself, because that creative component is kind of like the key to all of this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So the divide split, whenever it was, we'll just go with the, Saturn and Pluto conjunction, since that's kind of a lens that I always speak in lenses that I'm viewing things through. So look at where you were January, February, March of 2020. And look at how much you've changed since then. Look at how you see something and you go, oh, okay, interesting. I'm actually going to go check my sources on that one. I see you and I hear you, but I'm really going to take my time and not react to this. I'm going to respond to it. So many of us, so many light workers, so many beings, so many starseeds, so many leaders really went through a complete metamorphosis and a complete change. And now we're kind of like, yeah, bring it on. Whatever comes my way, I know I'll stay within my calmness. I'll stay within my sovereignty. I won't react. I'm going to respond. And it might take a little longer than I used to be in that hustle culture mentality. Yeah. No, I came from corporate. I get it. I was, working 70 plus hours a week, had the best chair in the building. My win was to come into the office on my day off and do paperwork because I didn't have to, wear the high heels and the phone wasn't going to go off. And it's just like, it was in an office with no windows or doors to the outside world. And because I made people feel so comfortable, I was doing the job of 5 people. I know. It was interesting. My assistant was meant to be onboarded on March 16th, I want to say, the day that the world shut down in Boston in 2020. So I found that to be a really interesting thing. Since I started the job, they're like, yeah, we're going to get you your assistant. Everything's going to be fine. Like I had to pardon my crassness, but I've already sweared in the video, but I had to schedule my pee breaks about an hour in advance. Yeah. So I see you where you are. I see you at your desk. You are not alone. If you're watching this at your office, I'm just right there with you. I'm giving you a big multidimensional hug and I want to give you some tools about how to navigate. So for a lot of people, and I'm going to be doing an entire video about respecting your elders, and I put elders in quotation marks because my elders are the infant babies that are getting born right now, but also my elders are the older human beings of generations. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But one of the things that I wanted to reference in this video, and I have a whole video that I'm going to link about relationships are drastically changing. That's about the North Node and the South Node transit that's going on right now. I know I'm a little bit all over the place, but like I said, I've already had coffee today, so I'm going to take a sip of water. But I like to be very efficient in my processes. So if there's ever anything that you're super duper interested, please just timestamp it and comment below and just say, hey, where do I go for this? And I will give you the resource for that. So relationships are drastically changing. That has to do with the North Node and the South Node transit. Definitely go watch that video. I will put the link below for that. But where was I? When it comes to respecting your elders and being in corporate. So I had a view that this could be for people that are in corporate and, within their reality, because when you awaken in corporate, you feel so alone. You feel so alone, and you might be like the weird one that wears the different color socks and, you have the fancy bow tie and stuff like that. And people always kind of peg you as you're a little bit different over there, but they're just kind of jealous that you are strong enough to be different within that reality. But what we have to do when we awaken in corporate is, and I love you so much, and I'm saying this with respect for your chosen corporate job, you must keep your mouth shut. You cannot talk about this. You cannot say it's hard to be vulnerable within that reality because people will look at vulnerability as weakness. Especially for my divine feminines, when you wake up in your corporate job and you recognize that I've been lied to and this whole feminism thing was a joke and that I'm really not in any way attractive to the type of man that I'm actually interested in, you have a lot of work to do to get out of that, and you can't talk about it to your job. What do we know most about corporate? If you died today, they would replace you within 48 hours, maybe less. Or they already have a backlog of people that they know they've wanted to replace you with. Yeah. Especially if you're the one that's different. They don't like the cognitive dissonance that you represent within your establishment. Oh yeah. No. I know that all of your clients like you, and I know that you have the best reputation, and I know that they feel safe with you, but your higher ups don't want that. They know that you shine like a minor league baseball player, and they don't want to have your clients liking you more than they like the establishment. They're aware of how powerful you are. Yeah, so you kind of have to keep your mouth shut, which is something that you have to do. Respecting your elders. I'll do an entire video on that, because it's also for, I have some clients that are awakened that are 15, 14 years old, and they have solved the answers to the universe. Like, we'll have conversations of, oh, in the multiverse, maybe in other universes, if they don't have the Big Bang, what type of components are they actually made up of? And, some multiverses are etheric, some dimensions are etheric. So so we'll have that type of texting conversation. And then I have to say, okay, well, how's your anxiety? How do you feel with the teachers around you? Or you feel like you're respecting them? They're older than you physically. You have to respect them, even if they're terrified, even if they don't have this language. Especially if they don't have this language, you have to respect them. Truly. Because if they're on the other side of the divide, and honestly, the parable that I always think of is, have you ever seen the movie Land Before Time? When this is like Pangea has split. And that, in 2021, 2022, we kind of had that ladder over the two continents saying like, oh, no, I want to be a good person. Oh, no, I'm changing sides. It's like that soundbite that's like, changing sides. I've seen that so many times. It's so beautiful and lovely. But now, 2023, we even had to like jump. 2024, it's permanent. Pangea has split. And if at this point in time, you have chosen to stay in a victim mentality, that is your reality. That is completely your reality. The label has been placed on your lapel, and you got like a nice lapel. I'm thinking of like, when somebody becomes a doctor and they get like the nice white jacket and it has the name that's already sewn into it. That's kind of what people that are in the victim mentality have done. They're like, nope. It's literally sewn in. It wasn't a patch that I put on. It wasn't like a magnetized little thing. It's like, this is part of their identity. And so you have to let them be. You can't convince them that you can stand in sovereignty. You can't convince them that they're being manipulated, because that's not their reality. And that's okay. There's no judgment. If we're standing in front of someone that we're judging the crap out of, don't stand in front of that person. I want you to start to look at your life, and I've given this parable before. I think it's in the Relationships Are Drastically Changing video. Think of yourself as the center of a mandala, and that every person in your life is a petal or a flower or a dot. So if someone, I'm going to give a leadership perspective right after this one. If someone in your life was an original petal, and you're like, I can't be around you in these types of conversation, then move them to a different petal. That's okay. That's okay. The leadership lens of that exact same parable, which is when you think of yourself, you are the leader, you're the CEO, you are the center cog. And then you have your VIP people. This is your immediate family. These are your ride or dies. This is your assistant. This is your right-hand man, right-hand woman. And then outside of that, you have team, acquaintances. And then outside of that is fans, spectators, audience, whatever it may be. So really be aware of who you keep in the center. From a scientific lens, our nervous system is affected by the nervous systems of the people around us, whether we like it or not. So again, we'll go through an astrology lens. We have Jupiter and we have Uranus in the sign of Taurus, in our house of money, values, and access to resources. Uranus is going to go direct on the 27th, and when that happens, all planets will be direct, so it'll be all systems go. Things are moving along a little bit faster. So while we still have Uranus retrograde, I want you to look at, what are my top 5 values? And then look at the top 5 people in your VIP circle and say, do they share those similar values than me? Because if they don't, you as the leader, you as the self-developer is going to get wildly affected by them. I also want to highlight that if you have to build yourself up to kind of have lunch with someone, and then after you see them, they're like, you are kind of processing their stuff. You're like, oh, if only they just did this, that they could be fine. If only they could just do this, they'd be fine. It'd be easy. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Everything like that's, if you can effortlessly solve their problems, I need you to know that they've unconsciously given you their guk, and that you unconsciously, but also consciously, are processing their guk. Because after they see you, they're skipping down Main Street like it's Christmas morning. They're like, why do I feel so great and so lovely and so wonderful? Because you are processing their gook. So, okay. So now, okay, Sarah, you've given me all this information for a half an hour. Now, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I want you to do a few different things. Having a moment each morning, 60 seconds to start off with, to find your version of grounding, find your version of meditating, find your version of coming back to, I am not this body, I am not my team, what my team needs, I'm not what my family needs, I'm literally consciousness running this human avatar, running this meat suit. Yeah. Just because I'm cognizant of the space and space that I come from doesn't mean that you're not equally as powerful. Nothing that I do, you won't be able to do. Truly. We all shine in our own way. And as we step into sovereignty, a lot of our blossoming comes to be. So I would take a moment every single day and give yourself a good 30 to 40 days to work this in. Like, the habit of habit really dictates our entire lives. So give yourself some time, if you have never done this before, to put on a timer for 60 seconds and sit there and breathe. You don't have to count your breaths. You don't have to sit like this. This could be mirror work. This could just be you looking back at yourself for 60 seconds into your own eyes. Whatever you do to just come back to, yeah, we're consciousness. None of this is real. We literally made this up. Yeah, we're in a third dimensional matrix. This is a complete video game. We are literally consciousness running human avatars, and our souls are infinite, our consciousness is infinite, and this is a mastery school. Yeah. It's like consciousness, music, and math had a baby, and it's this world. The universe, God, source, whatever you want to label it, wanted to experience itself, so this is the world that is created. We're also the prophecy, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. So, getting yourself back to center and grounding so that you know when you're out in the world, out at work, out responding to things, you're not reacting, you're responding. One of my favorite kind of analogies or parables my guides are giving me right now, which is, and I've referenced this before, is like, pretend that you're on safari in this world. And so when you see something that's triggering, or you see something, you're just like, interesting. Okay. No, I'm not going to react. I'm going to go home. I'm going to talk to my wife, to my husband, and we're going to decide if I believe this or not. I'm going to go talk to the guides of my understanding. Interesting. Yep. No, I got your email, and I'm just letting you know that I got it. I do not have my response yet. I don't want to react. So whatever language you need to utilize, take your time. Nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. Trust that. Trust your process. Not trust the process, but trust your process, and take as much time as you need, truly. Let's see, what helps? Grounding helps. Having some pocket stones around. I couldn't recommend them higher. What do I got in my pockets right now? I have got some shungite. I've got some aquamarine. Aquamarine is good for rage. You could, if you're very, very new to this, just like look at what month you were born, and aquamarine was for March 23rd for me. And so this is my stone, but the shungite, there's like a big cell tower, like a little bit away from where I live. And I like to keep this on to kind of help with the rays and stuff like that. Let's see. I have smoky quartz, Nasha. We know that. I've all different things. And so having something in your pocket that's just like your lucky stone, your little lucky thing, your fidget spinner, if you will, that you're just like getting like activated, where you're getting triggered. And I want you to, every time you get triggered, Zach Morris yourself, okay, stop. Say, okay. Take yourself away from the situation, take yourself off the floor, go to the bathroom, go look in the mirror, and just say, I literally wrote triggered, ? Okay, stop. And just say, I'm getting triggered. My human is getting triggered by this. There's fear, there's discomfort, there's something going on that is not right. You've got this, reminding yourself you're in control of your thoughts, words, and actions. You are sovereign. Everything's okay. You're in control of your thoughts, words, actions, and intentions. Say, okay, I got this. Everything's fine. That's not my reality. We're going to get back to that. and you go back out and you take care of you run your show, you run your ship, you run your team. That's why I try to keep, I know it's long range, but I try to keep my content under an hour, because sometimes we only have an hour. That's why I offer hour sessions and then half-hour sessions. When I'm working one-on-one, I work very efficiently with you. If you're interested in a one-on-one session, please email. Please check my website for all of my offerings. Links are below in the About section as well, but please reach out directly. You are not alone in this. And I'm offering a free 15-minute consultation to see if I'm the guide for you and to kind of say, what are your intentions going into this? I will be the first person to tell you if I'm not the person for you. But if you're here with me after half an hour, check yourself. Check yourself. Chickity check. Sorry. Okay. One of the biggest, most important things that we have to really do as sovereign beings is not hold in our truth. I'm going to time out and just say what I'm about to say. If it is a sleeper cell, if it is a danger zone, if there is narcissism, if there is verbal abuse, if this is a toxic, abusive family member, employee, stranger on the street, if it does not feel safe, do not engage. Just hold the door and keep on walking and just say bye-bye. When it comes to violence, when it comes to narcissism, when it comes to those very toxic sleeper cells, and you know exactly the image that's popping into your brain is the image that you know I'm talking about, do not engage and do not participate. That is the chosen reality, and you cannot, by existing alone, you have done enough. But there's no teaching involved in that situation. Removing your light is the only thing that I would recommend you do in that situation. But if you're talking to someone that's on the other side of your chosen reality, someone that you work with, someone that shares space with you, they're obviously in your life for a reason. So if they're sharing something with you about their belief system, about something that's going on, and you recognize that you're person up, relax your jaw, be aware of it. And the phrase that I personally use and that I recommend to use, thank you so much for sharing. That is not my reality. That's not the world I live in. But thank you for sharing what's powerful to you. Thank you for sharing what you're passionate about. I appreciate you sharing. Always express gratitude. Every single person, whether they're conscious or unconscious, on your side or the other side, and every single person on this planet knows something that you don't. So we must always be humble and recognize that you're learning something vibrationally from that person just as they are learning something vibrationally from you. So be aware of that and lead with class, lead with respect. Truly, it's something that I hold so true to, is that level of classy respect. I don't know, my human avatar is 36, but I am your fairy godmother. I am like a little old lady granny. I got my tissues tucked in, and there is a level of classic respect. I'm going to record the respecting your elders because it's a really important message that I would like to give to my community. That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell. You have to stand in that reality. Think of the way that you dress nowadays, where, I see people still wearing their PJs at the grocery store. A little bug was in front of me for that, so that's interesting. Dress for the job you want, that type of a mentality, not the job that you have. And when you show up, when you, rouge your cheeks and you take care of yourself and you look at the mirror, you are showing the world how much you value yourself. This is not egoic. Dressing up and just presenting yourself to the world is saying, this is how much I love and respect myself. Truly. So I know I've gone all over the place, but I think it's slapping. I think it's going. Okie dokie. When we're triggered, okay, stopped. That's not my reality. We went with pocket stones, but I wanted to highlight, if astrology is your language, which one of my favorite quotes about astrology was from JP Morgan, which is millionaires don't follow astrology, but billionaires do. So when we look at our big three, and this is very, for some people, this might be very known information, but if you're if you're new to astrology, we have our sun sign, we have our moon sign, and we have our rising sign. And this is based on the time that you were born, the time and place that you were born. There's many free places that you can go to. You can just put into your search engine, like free birth chart. It's very, very easy and very accessible to find. You put in the date and the time of your birth. If you don't know the time of your birth, that's so okie dokie. That's so okie dokie. You can go for your sun sign and you can go for your moon sign. And you can actually go off of the Aries rising, because this is the general grid behind me. Starts in Aries, goes all the way around to Pisces. So you can watch all of my introductory videos. You can watch for Aries rising. That's what you can do. So when it comes to a little bit of like the pocket stones, navigating anxiety and mental health is a big thing right now, especially as we're going out into this world being like, Sarah, you're telling me that there's a massive divide and that people on the other side are in victim mentality and that they're screaming at me and that I'm not allowed to talk to people that are like unconscious and this is going on. I don't say these things to freak you out. I don't say these things to scare you. I say them to empower you so that you can be sovereign out in the world and have expectations as to what might happen. Really, what's his name? I haven't watched his content in a very long time, but when I was really in corporate and I was driving over an hour to get to work, sometimes I had a 3-hour commute. It was just ridiculous if traffic was happening. In Boston, if you know, you know. And I would listen to Brendan Burchard, and one of his books, High Performance Habits, really helped change my life at that time. So I'm going to recommend that. But there were 3 questions that he would ask himself every day. The first one is, what am I most excited about? The second one, this is what I'm referencing, is what could trip me up today and how would my best self handle it? And the third was, how can I surprise someone that I love and care about? So I really love those, so I'm glad that I planted that seed. But his second question that he asked himself every day, what could trip me up today and how would my best self handle it? It's visualizing those perfect days. This is leadership. This is not like new information for a lot of you, but I'm just going to reference that as, okay, so I know that there's a divide. I know that this is happening as a lens over my already busy life. So how would my best self handle it? Empower yourself. Get those pocket stones. And one of the biggest things, this is why I'm referencing the big 3, is one of the biggest things that you can look for what is the medicine, for lack of a better term, for you, is what is missing in your big 3. What do you mean by that, Sarah? So my sun sign is in Aries, fire. My moon sign is in Capricorn, earth. My rising sign is in Scorpio, water. Earth, air, fire, water. What is missing? Air. So some of the best things that I can do is going for a really beautiful drive with the windows down. It helps clear my mind completely. Going for a walk outside on a windy day, just having air energy. Sometimes just like sitting in front of the fan on a hot summer day, I'm like, this is better than anything. This is great. Because that is the missing component for the amalgamation of myself. Like truly. And you look at the opposite sign. So for people that have like all water in their big 3, that's emotional. You need to ground. You need some earth energy. All air, you need some fire. You need some candle gazing. All earth, go for a cold swim. Fire, air. You know what I mean. So I think that is everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. Yep, holding the door, Patreon, relationships, that's not my reality. Let me ask my guides. I want to incorporate a little bit of me. Journal after this. After some of my videos, I know I pack a lot in, so just go back to your notes and just kind of do some free scripting, some free writing. Some people know that, but for others that don't, which is putting on a timer for maybe like 5, maybe start with 3 minutes and ask yourself write down the question, what does this divide mean to me? Or how am I navigating this divide? What do I already know about this divide? And what did I take most from this video? And then don't take your pen off of the paper until you're done writing. Even if it's, I think I really need a pocket stone, or, okay, I'm really noticing some things that have kind of come out of that. I want to plant a seed. Healing. I just need to make that note. I want to plant a seed for if you're in a situation, some of you watching this have been recognizing that you're more like awakened, for lack of a better term, more mindful, more spiritual of this divide. And I don't want you to get upset with yourself. I do not want you to get mad at yourself. And I don't want me saying like the divide is permanent for you to think that you cannot unwind yourself from certain things. That's, you know, in my one-on-one sessions, we do very quantum work. So when that happens, I have my guides, we can invite your guides in, and then I have a little bit of a past life view over here as to like why you are the way you are, what has led you here. And we literally process within 1, 2, and 3 different universes minimum at the same time. Like it's very, very, in corporate, I like to be very efficient in my processes, and I trained entry-level people. I've been training teams for a long time, so I am in no way not qualified for what it is that I'm offering to you. So when it comes to those types of things, please reach out directly. Email is listed below, and we can book that one-on-one session. I'm very, very grateful for that. But if you feel as though, I just want to plant this seed, you can go, if you feel as though you've been awakened, maybe more so than you thought, maybe there have been times that your gut was going off, maybe, you know, as I was talking, like when I was like, oh, that's the belief system of that person, I didn't say anything. I want you to look at the first time that it happened. I want you to think back to the first time that ever happened, where you were chatting with a colleague, you were chatting with your boss, and you recognized that you were too scared to express your true opinion because you wanted to be respectful. Actually, you were lying to them. What's underneath it, you were lying to them because you didn't want to lose a job. You got to look at that. You got to look at that. I love you. I love you. I'm not losing you. Stay with me. Stay with me. And just look at it. And just look at it. And there are very accessible ways that we can do multidimensional quantum healing of that reality and of those decisions. But I need you to look at the gross side of what you've done. I know. Yes, when it comes to the spiritual community, sometimes the love and lighters can be very dangerous. It's not noon all day long. We all have a shadow, and we need someone like a little corporate court jester, a spiritual counselor, a fairy godmother. That's me. To say, hey, you got food in your teeth, and nobody at work ever told you you did. Yeah, if you have gone to the bathroom, I'm going to close with this. If you've gone to the bathroom at your job and you recognize that there's food in your teeth and you were like, when was the last time I ate? And it was probably at breakfast time, and not a single person around you told you that they have food in your teeth, why are you in that room? They don't respect you. They don't respect you. You're worthy of someone saying truth to you. That's why we have to utilize these phrases of, that's not my reality. Thank you so much for sharing. I respect you. I respect your belief systems. I respect where you are, but that is not my reality. That's showing them that you respect them, and that's showing your body that you respect your avatar, and that's showing your consciousness that you are capable of wielding the sword of sovereignty. I love you. I'm so proud of you. Oh, please comment below what you're going through. Please share this video with other beings in corporate, other people that really might be kind of a little confused as to what's going on. Please subscribe to my channel if you are interested in more of this type of content. I am just so freaking jazzed to be here with you. It is my absolute pleasure. I can't go back into the matrix, but I can help you navigate what you've done and help you unwind some of the things that have happened to you in a very efficient and very, very multidimensional quantum way. So please also comment below if there are questions that you had. Like I said, if there's a timestamp or you say, hey, Sarah, you referenced this at this time, please help me help you, and it is my pleasure to be of service. I'll see you soon. Ciao, ciao.